Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Country with the weekly comic book roundup. We've covered this and last week's Marvel books, as well as this and last week's Fear State tie-ins. Now it's time to move on to the next portion of of this and last week's DC books. While the title is probably likely going to be saying Miscellaneous DC, no, I mean, basically, we got one that's definitively prime continuity, one that might be, and the rest are alternate timelines. So yeah. Anyway, kicking things off, we've got Blue and Gold #3. So where we left off, things weren't looking good for the Blue and the Gold. More and more, Beetle was proving himself to be the more capable of the two. However, at least when it came to the hero gig, sadly, and while Booster had announced a quasi heroes for hire type business, sadly. The idea being that core industries would fund it. Sadly, well, Ted, Blue Beetle, was fired from and cut off from core industries. Also, an intergalactic princess has come to Earth to lay claim to remind the people that. Is part of her domain, which is in fact. And speaking of said space princess, the issue begins with her in New York City, approaching the United Nations. And meanwhile, Booster's trying to move into the offices for his. For the hero business, but yeah, they haven't received the first mouse threat yet. And Ted's in a bit of a slump, so. But the light show being put on by the Space Princess catches Booster's attention. He heroes up and goes out to stop her while she's kidnapping representatives from the UN to basically inform them that their nations all need to give up all their weapons and assets, and bend the knee to her. So yeah, we get a fight between Booster and the princess, Omnizon. It's at least fairly level. But Beetle sees what's going on, shows up and helps out. It's not as one-sided of a fight as it may appear, but turns out that the Beetle has made a robot partner similar to Skeet's, Buggles, which seemingly vaporizes Omnizon. But so Booster and Beetle save the day. Discuss what Buggles just did when Trixie Collins, Booster's former assistant, comes to find them both and explains that she owns a building that has available space. It's not the corporate look it's not the look they were necessarily going for, but it probably might even work better. And she mentions that she believes in Booster, and surprisingly, Booster finally gets the idea of, hey, live stream my heroing exploits. Why not try and get donos? But Beagle informs Booster, no. Buggles did not vaporize Omnizon. Simply sent her to a swamp in the bayou. And she's pissed. Very, very pissed. Yeah, you know, Blue and Gold continues to be a fun title. I'm honestly kind of sad it's only a six-issue miniseries, and we're now at the halfway point. So, but anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Legends of the Dark Knight #6. Now this is actually a little bit different from previous issues of Legends of the Dark Knight. It's an anthology issue, actually. We've got 2 stories, both Halloween themed. So the first one, The Curse of Slaughter Swamp, has Batman dealing with having to protect a couple mobsters from what appears to be Solomon Grundy. He manages to keep them from being killed, but also make sure to tie them up for Gordon before following Grundy into the sewers. But apparently there's a bad man that makes Grundy do bad things, hurt people. But Batman follows Grundy to the Slaughter Swamp. There's shards of mirrors hanging from the branches, from the trees. Grundy explains this to confuse the Batman. And finally, Batman asks us who the bad man is, and Grundy explains it's Cyrus Gold. Cyrus Gold, for those who may be unaware of Solomon Grundy's history, was who Solomon Grundy was in life. He was a criminal of various types. He was betrayed by his partners and murdered by his partners, and had his body dumped in Slaughter Swamp. Years later, he was reborn as Solomon Grundy. But rather than take him into Arkham, Batman decides to let him try and figure things out himself. He figures, Grundy will probably end up back in Arkham in a week or so, but he wanted to give Grundy the chance. He explains to Alfred, and Alfred commends him, saying that knowing when to step away is just as important as being there to help. And that is where the issue ends, or the story ends, not the issue, the story. Next up, we've got... God, let's read this one. Ugh, I do hate when they do something like this, but... A hard rain's gonna fall. During a massive flood in Gotham, flood walls have breached, city's flooded. Batman is doing what he can to save people. There's also, of course, rescue crews in the water. Also in the water is Killer Croc. However, Croc's injured. He's had a harpoon stuck in him. He explains that he saw the people who blew up the dam, or the flood walls, and he wanted to talk to them about the fact that the flood walls, the destruction of flood walls, absolutely flooded the sewers. Croc's home, but they didn't seem to care. In fact, they shot him with a harpoon for his troubles. But he did see where they went, which he takes Batman to. It's to the home of the Gotham Stock Exchange. Basically, they're planning to steal all the servers. Flood happens, no one's going to know. The theft of the servers will go unnoticed. But Batman and Croc go to stop them. Some damage is done to some of the servers, but, well, that's Croc couldn't care less. That's not what he cared, and he's got a point. That's not the important part. These people flooded the city just so they could steal all the money in the Gotham Stock Exchange, and so fuck them. That is where the issue ends. And I gotta say, this was actually this was really neat. I like that. I like that. I know there's supposed to be a long Halloween special related special coming out this month for Batman. I'm guessing it comes out this coming week, but you know, I'm all for Halloween. Halloween specials. I'll be honest. I was actually kind of on the fence with this year's DC one of Are You Afraid of Darkseid? But I'm glad I picked it up after all. It was trying to be really fun. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Batman '89, number 3. Where we left off, well, things were not looking good for District Attorney Dent. He'd been knocked unconscious in a burning building, and some acid had spilled on the floor and was coming closer and closer to the left side of his face. But the issue begins with Harvey rescuing Drake, being congratulated as a hero, before fast forwarding to a year later. Governor Dent is enjoying the big life in the state capitol. Commissioner Barbara Gordon comes to see him. Her father resigned shortly after Dent was hailed as a hero for saving Drake in the fire. But everything's coming up great for Harvey. But then he realizes things aren't great. As Bruce and Drake pull Harvey out of the burning building. And, well, yeah. He just became Two-Face. But, he's, of course, rushed to the hospital. Detective Bullock finds some interestingly dressed perpetrators in the in a dumpster. And the press is camped outside of Wayne Manor as well. Bruce is a hero. Alfred suggests that Bruce come in through the alternative entrance. The next day, Drake is having to deal with the fact that everything he had burned up in the fire. So a collection has been taken up, but he's staying in his van, though, just to, not put anyone out. The would-be the arsonists have been released, and their lawyers suing the city. Harvey meets or hallucinates a multiversal doppelganger who shows him various ways his life could have gone. And but he's got his coin though, and he asks Barbara for a nail file, and he takes one side and scratches it deeply. That night, Batman goes to Shrek's department store, the roof of Shrek's department store, to meet with Catwoman. And the city sadly, the city does start to go up in flames as they talk. But also, it turns out that Selina's in therapy with Batman, with Bruce pointedly asking if it's Dr. Quinn she's seeing, and well, that's privileged information. But Jen watches as the city goes up in flames on the news. As he's being called the soul of Gotham, flips his coin. Coin comes up bad side. He simply says, "Soul of Gotham? To hell with it." That is where the issue ends. So a very interesting continuation of the story. It's gonna be cool to see how this all plays out. So yeah, it's a good miniseries so far. It hasn't disappointed me yet. Moving on to our next book, we've got Future State Gotham, number 6. Where we'd left off, while Batman, Jace Fox, and Red Hood, Peacekeeper Red had managed to escape Warmonger together, they needed a plan to take him down, and they knew that he was needing the Arkham Knight armor to enact his plan fully. And that the best place for him to use the armor was in Magistrate headquarters. So, how did the Peacekeeper and the Dark Knight get into Magistrate headquarters? By having the Peacekeeper arrest the Dark Knight. They get him in, and eventually everything goes sideways. But yeah, so Warmonger shows up. Oh, yeah. Warmonger shows up, attacks the building. Also, yeah, the Peacekeepers are utter shitbirds who are all hoping to have a talk with Batman. But however, they're too late to prevent Warmonger from stealing the armor. And they try to figure out where he is, and when a body falls in front of one of the windows, they realize, oh, he's on a roof. So they make a plan with Jace will go find the Resistance and help them, as Jason realizes that the Resistance has all been exposed to the Tech nanites. And with Warmonger broadcasting where he is, they're in Warmonger's thrall just as the rest of the city is. And the damage that the Bat family can do, oof, yeah. So, but initially, Batman suggests that Peacekeeper Red go, well, and he'll send off Warmonger, but Peacekeeper Red explains, hey, they don't trust me, they trust you. Tell them how to work the mask to get rid of to undo the tech. And yeah, Jason has to keep Warmonger distracted. Hopefully he can keep him distracted long enough. Our backup story is a rerun of the story, a father and son outing by Jorge Jimenez from the recent Batman Black and White miniseries. So and I've gone over this already. I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to go over it again. But moving on to our last book for the video. Pretty sure it's the last book for the video. Justice League, Last Ride, number 6. Where we left off, the League was besieged on Apocalypse, and while trying to turn on the defenses, Batman and Hal Jordan found something rather terrifying. A hidden chamber filled with clones of Darkseid. A stasis tube, but still. But Hal Jordan sees this as that. So that was Darkseid's backup plan. But Batman explains that backup plans only work when you're still alive to implement them. Gets back to work on the defenses when he realizes what's truly happened. Darkseid's been in control of Hal Jordan the entire time, and uploads his consciousness into one of the clones while taking Hal's ring. The League is not having the easiest time. Is fairly evenly matched against those besieging them. With Cyborg Superman Brainiac amalgamation having kryptonite knives and actually doing a bit of damage to Superman because, well, kryptonite. But so yeah, they free Lobo. But the planet's turned back on. The full plan was Darkseid lured the League there to witness the rebirth of Apocalypse. And he hired Lobo, basically to bring the League there. So, he had to sell it, though. How else is he going to bring the League there? But, yeah, so Green Lantern Darkseid sends out tons of parademon constructs, and the League does what they can to get away, including freeing Lobo. Well, I use freeing loosely. But Batman hires Lobo to serve as part of their the diversion for them. And, yeah, they're going to take the fight as Darkseid. Hal included. After all, Hal's not happy that he's been controlled by Darkseid, and so as the fight rages, Darkseid goes head to head with Wonder Woman, disarming her, and then revealing another soul hidden within Darkseid, J'onn J'onzz, the Martian Manhunter. And, well, doesn't seem like J'onn's soul's all that happy right now. But it basically becomes a lantern construct. So it's Wonder Woman. Or, well, actually, no, I got that all wrong. Apparently, J'onn's soul managed to come out of the ring, basically backing up what Wonder Woman says to Darkseid, that he may have outrun death. But as long as the League exists, Darkseid will not outrun justice. And that is where the issue ends. And that's, as usual, last ride has been, well, quite the ride. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.